Now, let's further discuss the anthrax outbreak cases in Gunung Kidul Regency, Yogyakarta. Joining live with us now is Associate Professor at IPB University of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences, Dr. Denny Widaya Lukman. Good afternoon, Doctor. Now, following the anthrax outbreak in Gunung Kidul, just to get things straight from the news circulating in the public, where did the virus come from?
Yes, this is not a virus, this is a bacteria. So usually the bacteria is, can survive in the environment, specifically in soil, and the scientific reports reported that the spores of Bacillus anthracis until 50 years later. So the spores of this bacteria can survive in the environment, specifically in soil, until 50 years. So usually the susceptible animals such as cattle, buffalo, goats and sheep, can get the infection from the soils when they, for example, when they feed the grass.
Now, so can you explain why is anthrax dangerous for animals and humans?
Yes, this is one of the important or major zoonotic diseases. There are about 200 zoonotic diseases has been reported in the world, and maybe only about 30% are very important for us. And the Bacillus anthracis is one of the fatal zoonotic diseases that it can cause death in susceptible animals and also in human.
All right, so doctor, just to get us familiar with this particular disease, anthrax, what are the symptoms of anthrax? Is it quite hard to diagnose?
Yes, it is actually not quite hard, because the clinical signs of anthrax in, for example, in cattle is very, very acute. So there are some clinical signs, so per-acute and acute. And usually the common clinical signs is sudden death of animals. And before death, the animals showed fever, high fever.
Okay, now doctor, in Gunung Kidul Regency, cows infected with anthrax were buried. So do you think this is the right way to deal with an animal that died from anthrax, or should they be incinerated? Because you did mention that the bacteria can survive in the soil for up to 50 years.
Yes. Yes. Okay. Actually, this is one of standard operating procedures for elimination of dead animal because of anthrax. So bury or incinerate it with the in incinerator. So we incinerate it in incinerator. But when we bury the dead animals because of anthrax, we have to confirm to be sure that the animals 1 meter above the animals are close by the soil, so not in the near of the from the soil,
the surface.
So minimum 2 meters, from the surface. Sorry, minimum 1 meter behind the surface.
I see. Okay. So, doctor, yesterday we celebrated World Zoonosis Day to honor the achievements of Louis Pasteur, a renowned French biologist, as we know. Now, speaking of zoonosis, we were wondering, what are the zoonotic diseases in vertebrate animals that can be transmitted to humans like anthrax, aside of anthrax?
As I mentioned before, that there are about 200 zoonotic diseases that can be transferred from vertebrates to human. and about 30% are very important to human right now. For example, anthrax or avian influenza or rabies even in Indonesia right
Yes.
now. Yeah, and then SARS-CoV or yeah, SARS-CoV and also met yeah, uh, toxoplasmosis, as you know.
Yeah. So those are actually the diseases that can be transmitted from animals to human.
Animals
So, yeah.
to human.
So, doctor, just to get us before we say goodbye to you, how do we, get ourselves away from these kind of diseases? Do you have any tips or any suggestions?
Yes, there are many suggestions on it, but the major suggestions are if we want to prevent and to control the zoonotic disease, we have to focus on the source. The source is usually animals. So we have to focus in animals because animals is a source of the diseases to human. That's why the vaccination or preventive measures should be applied in animals rather than we focus on human. Because if the zoonotic diseases are already occurs in human, it means that this is too late because it's already transmission of the agent or the pathogens from animals to human. And the important things of all, besides vaccination, is how we could increase the knowledge and the knowledge and also the awareness of community to the zoonotic disease. This is what I think very important because, for example, in Gunung Kidul, before this, so 2 years ago, it's already occurred. Yeah, the anthrax and the people died from this.
All right. So, doctor, if I can conclude from your suggestion earlier, so that means we have to do our due diligence if we have cattle
Yes.
or if we have pets to get them vaccinated first, rather than
Right. Yes.
focus on ourselves. Is that right?
Really? Yeah,
All
indeed.
right.
Yes, I do
Dr.
agree.
Denny Widaya Lukman, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. And we hope that the education about this kind of diseases will actually continue in our country. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you so much. Okay, thank you.